So there's some tools that are on the market that give us just a dashboard of data that we're able to evaluate remotely. And then when we put on our license hat, it's like, this sounds more severe than it is. We need to get them to that next level of care. And that's really that access to advice and support model. And once again, we're not trying to take out like the physical therapy market or chiropractors or massage therapists. There's just the ability of asking a question early, and then a health navigator, right, which is a term used in healthcare, we're then able to direct them appropriately.
All right, we're ready to roll. It's 9 o'clock on Wednesday morning in Albuquerque, and that means it's time for 1 million cups. So it's time to check in. If you have a cell phone, and most of you do, point it at that QR code. That will let the Kauffman Foundation know that you attended 1 Million Cups Albuquerque, and we'll let them know that our chapter is thriving. If you check in on 3 separate occasions, you'll get a pen. If you check in on 6 separate occasions, you'll get the coveted 1 Million Cups notebook. How many people have one of those? Yep, we got it. All right, so it's worth coming here. Okay, so what do we do here? Our mission is to benefit entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs have a lonely and difficult journey, and we are trying to make that a little bit easier. So we lower the barrier of access to education, resources, and connection for new and aspiring entrepreneurs all through the United States. So there's both a national, the mic, yes. Thank you. There's both a national, see, I know how to hold it correctly, but sometimes I don't hold it, right? Okay, so there's a national and a local mission. We work toward this with the help of the Kauffman Foundation. The Kauffman Foundation supports this and trains the organizers in coaching the presenters. So you'll see a uniform kind of presentation at any instance of 1 Million Cups all across the United States. Of course, every community in which there's a 1 Million Cups chapter has its unique strengths, and 1 Million Cups is designed to take advantage of those. All right, there's lots of chapters in the Southwest, but there's only one in New Mexico. So hold your head up high. And if your travels take you on the road to any of these other places or any place else that might have a Million Cups chapter, and it's 9 o'clock on Wednesday, drop in. There's no strangers, just friends you haven't met. You'll have a good time. Okay, here's the key pillars of a 1 Million Cups presentation. These are presentations, not pitches. In a pitch, and Adam's intimately familiar with pitches, your company has everything it needs to go to the moon, right? I mean, you got the great team, you got a great product, you got product market fit, you got all that stuff. You just need an injection of cash. And at 1 Million Cups, it's turned around a little bit differently. We know that the inside of a startup is kind of chaotic, and that you always need something. You always need something from the community. You need help with something, you need connection to something, you need people for something. So this is the purpose of 1 Million Cups, is to expose your challenges and vulnerabilities and ask the community for help. So that helps you make authentic connections as a presenter, but as an audience, you can also make authentic connections before and after. Hang around, introduce yourself to people you don't know. There are a lot of people in this room that know stuff that you need to know. You might not even know that you need to. So just keep talking to people. It's run for the community, by the community. Million Cups organizers are volunteers. We are not masochistic altruists. We all get something out of it. My company has benefited tremendously from being part of Million Cups. We're radically and intentionally inclusive. All kinds of people are welcome at all stages of their entrepreneurial journey. We welcome all businesses, brick and mortar businesses, mom and pop businesses, little whiteboard companies that might have got a little bit of grant money, all the way to companies that are in market or are so far along they don't need anything from us, but they're here to show us how it's done. So all of those folks are welcome, and we've heard from many of them. That's our mission. There's a lot to say there, but basically this is an educational environment. Please keep it polite and gentle. If someone says something you strongly disagree with, it might be an opportunity to take advantage of the time to keep your opinion to yourself. Please be polite and supportive to others. It's easy to present. Well, it's easy to apply to present anyway. You talk to any of the organizers, and we'll set you up with a coach and give you all everything necessary to look good up here. If you're a for-profit business, that is, you sell goods or services for more than it costs to make them, you're eligible for Million Cups. This is our organizing team. I'm Paul Sauter. Lisa Atkins is here. Eric Riddens-Whitmore is probably online. Danielle's here. Sonia is online, and Keiko and Oscar are lurking somewhere, or they're editing video. So you can talk to any of us if you're interested in presenting. It's also a great opportunity to thank our sponsors. Fat Pipe for 10 years has been our sponsor.
Sure.
We could not have existed without Fat Pipe. Dry heat photography right here, making us look good. More Than Organized, Mariam Ortiz-Pino, organizing your stuff, your thoughts, and providing creamer. Foundation for Sustainable Living, our very valuable coffee sponsor. No coffee, no talkie. Noventum, custom software, making software that doesn't suck and providing donuts. And Minuteman Press for putting all your ink on paper needs. And thanks for joining us. And I'll introduce we don't want to show that. I'll introduce our presenter. Our presenter is Adam Halpern of WaveOn, and it's a real pleasure to have Adam here. Adam and I survived the Arrowhead text print. I think survival is the appropriate verb there. And it's great to hear what's going on at WaveOn. So Adam, come on up and lay it on us.
Good everyone,
Give me just a second to set up.
in person and online. It's good to be back. I've presented, I think, maybe 3 times. So it's nice to see some usual suspects and then some new people in the room. So it's good to see everyone. Hope everyone had a good holiday. So I went over this kind of presentation with Paul yesterday. And if you guys are business owners and you're always presenting, there's always a variety of stakeholders. So it was really good to go over the final review with Paul to simplify what I will talk about today for the 1 Million Cups audience, which Paul highlighted. I'm just presenting more about who I am and what I'm doing instead of like, this is what the company is doing and why we need money and how we're going to conquer the world. So it's informal. If you guys have any questions in the middle, feel free to raise your hand and we'll go that way. So to know about the company, you have to know about the person. So I'm Adam Halpern. I grew up in Angel Fire, right? A couple hours away. This is my family, my wife, Alicia, 2 daughters, and it's been a busy morning. Went to spin at 5:30. Our oldest daughter has a science fair project, had to go into school, and then I came here. So just like all of you, if you have families, it's go, go, go. And you add a startup on top of that, it's another layer of busyness. So I kind of joke, my first job is daddy daycare Uber driver, and my second job is I'm the founder and CEO of a startup. But if we really get into who Adam is, which ties into why we're doing what we're doing, I'm an athletic trainer by trade. So I went from Angel Fire, I went to NMSU for undergrad, I then worked at Stanford, I worked with the US ski team. So if you watch sports, any level, high school, college, pro, and if you see an athlete go down on the field, athletic trainers are WaveOn. That's where I came up with that name. But by working really deeply in the profession of sports medicine, I have this super high level subject matter expertise, which allows that visionary perspective to come out. I'm also very determined as an athlete myself, like I'm not going to give up, which you'll see in the presentation. I talk about my journey and struggles and pivoting and ups and downs. But I also have that opportunistic mindset, right? If I was pessimistic, I wouldn't be in this position. Visionaries and founders have to say, the light's green, let's go, even if there's a car accident in front of us, right? So we have to figure out how to do it. And then through all of the work that I've been doing, I'm actually transitioning into understanding I have some pretty significant leadership qualities that I have to like pull out from the backdoor closet and put in front. And you'll see with the team that we've been able to put together. And this is a unique perspective. Some of you might know it because you're local and you might be within the internet world. Simon Sinek, we all know about the why. Gary Sanchez, who was a dentist, he then created like the Why Foundation that's local. If you have any questions about yourself and like what your real purpose is and what drives you, it's a very simple process. There's people in town. Chris Kenny is one of the people that does the test. And it helped me understand why I've been different my whole life and why I've always been kind of on this outward looking into the community of, I think differently. I think outside the box thinking. And this just really helped me identify a little bit about Adam that then I can put into practice with team members, even family and friends. So we'll get into the journey of Adam. Once again, this is not a company pitch to investors. This is letting you guys understand why this experience and passion exists. The background, like I said, Angel Fire, grew up an athlete, but I went to a small high school. That's me winning like the state hurdle championship at UNM track. But because I went to a small school, I didn't even know that college athletics was possible. We didn't have an athletic trainer like me, so I didn't have that mentor. So I went to NMSU for athletic training because it sounded cool. And then I was fortunate, just that drive and that personality, I was able to work at Stanford and with the US ski team. And then I've been involved with national professional associations at the state, district, and national level, which really started to tap into, okay, there's something here. There is something about this really rich service that only athletes within what I call institutional sports, high school, college, Olympic level have. How can we support the triathlete? How can we support the skier? How can we support that club soccer player that's 15 that might have some injuries and they don't know what to do? So we had some prototypes. We've raised a little bit of money, but we've been fortunate. We haven't needed to raise a lot of money because that passion behind what I'm doing has really got us this far. Some of you in the room, you know this. I was this really passionate founder with that deep level subject matter expertise, and that works. But in the startup world, there's always that, well, why are you a passionate user of your system? What's that real hook? A couple of years ago, I had a really significant bike accident, and that's me in the hospital. I was in ICU for a day, traumatic brain injury, brain bleed. Long story short, I literally used the system that we're building, and it literally changed my life and changed my family's life. I was able to work with an athletic trainer out of California, did virtual concussion therapy. She gave me a program I took to the gym on my own. When I had the follow-up meeting with the physician and then the neurologist, they had no idea how I was doing so. Well, simply put, we are treating people like professional athletes. And if you're not a professional athlete, you really don't have any resources available. It's just the internet has stuff available. You kind of search it, you search Dr. Google, what to do, and then you're really on your own. So because I'm now that passionate user of the system, it's kind of changed the trajectory a little bit. We have had individual athletes, like I said, all those sports, they like it. They're really getting value. They're able to communicate with a professional that's kind of giving them the navigation around their industry or around their injury. And we've worked with single point solutions, which is around musculoskeletal, or it's just a communication. But what we're really doing when we talk about athletes, we're navigating their entire experience being an athlete. And that's from prevention all the way through recovery, and kind of being in the background to give them the trust and the resources of this is what you do now, this is what you do next. And then if you need a referral to a specialist in the healthcare system, we can make that happen. So those single point solutions within our prototype, they just weren't working, right? We were able to sell it, but we couldn't scale it. And then I said, I know my strengths. Where is the team missing? Where are the gaps? And this has been the real big development. My background, like I said, athletic training, like subject matter expert vision, but I don't have an MBA. Like I have worked in companies, but I've never really known exactly what to do in the business world. So I found a co-founder out of Dallas who has experience in corporate and venture settings. So he's taken the company to another level. Because I'm a leader, we now have a dev team and a lead product manager. One's in Pittsburgh, one is in Dallas. So now we're able to really develop and build this product that we can take to market. I know how to talk to athletic trainers in 5 minutes. So like, Adam, this is what we've been screaming for 30 years. No one's ever figured out how to help progress the profession. So this group are all athletic trainers that have worked with the MLS in pro sports, with Epic, the healthcare, like EMR system. We're really starting to get this team together because of those leadership qualities. We have some people that have worked in technology. Tobin is in San Francisco. And now we have a really strong advisor panel that is opening up doors. Jamie Moyer was a professional baseball pitcher for 28 years. We're now in very deep conversations with retired Major League Baseball athletic trainers like myself, because they all believe what we believe. Everyone should be treated like professional athletes. Like, why doesn't it exist? Well, we all know it's hard, it's difficult, it's challenging. Where we are seeking support, and this is one of the things I'll say at the end of the presentation, as the founder, as the CEO, there's only so much grit I can have. There's only so much bandwidth. I said I have 2 girls. I need a hunter. I need someone that can take all the opportunities that we're putting on the table to kick them across the goal line. So that's the one thing that we're missing. But we've had a lot of traction, right? Because of that passion, I can talk with coaches, I can talk with athletic directors, I can talk with medical directors of like the Ultimate Frisbee Professional Association. Everyone loves what we're doing, but we now need to have that product that we can take to market. We've had a little bit of revenue, so it's more than just like an early stage company. We're a little bit further along. And next year is where we're really focusing on that MVP. So that's kind of where we are, is we have the team, we're now building out the product, we have our market, we know where we're going, but we still need that product, and that's where we're going. So once again, for this presentation, it's about, well, what have we learned? When we go after those individual athletes that I mentioned, from the triathlete to the skier, as a startup, you have to have a big financial problem that you're solving. And in individuals, it's going to cost a lot of money to get a lot of athletes, right? That's where Uber spent $400 million in marketing for that double-sided marketplace, a driver and a rider. I wish I had that, but I don't. So we have to pivot, right? And that's part of the journey. How do you navigate? How do you learn from it? So because of where I come from, universities, colleges, high schools, right? These institutional sports, there's more athletes now than ever before. If you know sports, NIL, name, image, likeness, the transfer portal, every athlete wants to play. So there's more than ever before. However, there's less athletic trainers like myself. And there's a lot of reasons. The degree is now a master's level entry. So when I worked at Stanford, it was during grad school. They basically got cheap labor. Grad assistants don't exist anymore. Athletic trainers are tired of being overworked. They want to spend more time with their family. They want a little bit better work-life balance. So it's difficult for these colleges to hire athletic trainers to work there. And the big financial problem, there's a $20 billion economic impact from sports-related injuries on medical costs and time lost. So there's a decrease in athletic trainers, there's a decrease in the athletic health support, but there's more and more athletes than ever before. So the real big pivot is, let's go after the business to business model, universities, colleges, and high schools that either have an athletic training staff that is understaffed, they're looking for people, but they can't get athletic trainers to take that job. And they want to support not the footballs, right? Not UNM's football team or the basketball team. Think of the golfs, the swimmings, the tennises, that we can support them remotely because we're able to do it digitally. Or think of all the high schools across America, because there's 1/3 of them that are small and those athletes are good and they have the same injuries as those big schools, but we can support them in a remote model. So this is kind of the financial model, right? The 1 Million Cups plan is like, how do you make money? This is a more affordable option than hiring someone, then maybe you couldn't hire it. Or if you're able to work with your existing staff, we can augment it, we can supplement it, we can work with that team. So where we are is we're trying to get early adopters, we're trying to get lead clients that we can test this out. Being from New Mexico, Angel Fire, Las Cruces, NMSU, I now live in Albuquerque. I've literally been screaming this for 5 years. I want a stake in the ground that says made in New Mexico by New Mexicans, and then we'll take it national. That attitude hasn't changed. So if anyone has any athletic directors, sports organizers, like, let's talk. So that's where we're putting out that MVP is the next one. So challenges, right? Another big focus of 1 Million Cups. It really is that mental shift from, yeah, I have a good idea. I now have to really wear that business hat of how can we have a successful business? What are the KPIs? What are the conversion rates? And most importantly, if you guys are founders and you own a business, it is the loneliness. And I am very vocal about this. It is finding other people that are in the same shoes that we can put our arm around each other and say, I get it. That unspoken word of, I've been there. Keep going. You're onto something. My family loves me. My family supports me, but they've never started a company from scratch. They literally don't understand what I'm doing or why I'm doing it. And especially when you're kind of creating a new industry, there's a lot of disconnect. So that's the big challenge for me, is how do I continue to drive forward, put on that happy face, that optimistic face, when internally sometimes it is lonely and dark. Those are the big challenges. The second one is, and it's not that we're asking for money in 1 million cups, but as a startup, and I can have that entire team of people love what we're doing. They're all vested. They understand it's the risk reward. But at some point, people say, I can't work for free anymore. Like this isn't going to work for my life. So we have to constantly try to figure out how we can keep the team alive, because this isn't the Adam show. I tell people all the time, I'd rather have a piece of something than 100% of nothing. And that's why we have that big team and all these people are showing up, because we know we're onto something, but that runway does end at some point. And then lastly, we've gone through multiple pivots from the business to consumer. Let's now work with marathons or gyms. And that's why we're at this university, college, and high school market, because they actually have a financial problem. Everyone else was just going to push it off to the end user, which is going to cost us a lot of marketing money. But we have to still get that product market fit. And that's where that lead client comes in. All we need is a lead client. That team that I've been able to put together, we're already, like, we know exactly what we need to do. It's just finding that lead client. And we have some leads. It's not that we're starting from zero, but that's where, if this community really wants to help our growth and to, hang that banner made in New Mexico, we'd love to have those conversations with you. So to close it out, I want your support. I want to say everyone's part of it. It's all about introductions. And there's two. Obviously, any introductions to people, not just money, but people that understand the gap that we're filling, which is really understanding how athletes can be treated better, how athlete health management can be brought into the 21st century with the combination of technology and people, and any sports organizations that you guys might be close with. The sales lead is actually a big need that we have right now. So you might have a friend, you might have a cousin, you might even have a friend that's at UNM. It doesn't matter. If someone has that hustle to close deals, our CRM is over 250 contacts that we've been talking to. It's just very difficult to be a husband, be a father, then be investor management relations, then business development, and then sales. Like, there's only so many hours in the day. And I'd rather work with someone than try to just be the hero and do it by myself. And then those introductions to universities, colleges, or high schools. We've talked with high schools all over the country. We're talking with one of our strategic partners that works with 27 state high school associations. And everyone knows the problem we're solving is universal and it's consistent across the country. We just need to have the constant momentum. So those are kind of the big asks. And like Paul said, this is really about the community supporting each other. I'm excited to hear what questions you have, because I know I probably sparked a little bit of curiosity, a little bit of interest, and I can dive deeper into how we're doing it, what we're doing. But I really wanted to focus on the why behind Adam, and then why we're presenting to 1 Million Cups game. So with that, I appreciate it. And I look forward to your questions.
Right. Form a line, and we'll also take questions online. I'm going to put his contact information in the page for you. Or in chat.
Probably need.
Can you hear me okay? Okay, so I am an RN by education with a master's in public health. I heard you talk about your group that you're marketing to, and so I'm going to tell you a little bit about 2020 and me. 2020, I developed a physical problem and my health plan was closed. Everything was shuttered. What did I do? Well, I found Pete Egoscue, Egoscue online, and I'm not marketing for him. He has 2 books out. he is sort of filling a different gap than yours. There's a lot of people, their health insurance maybe covers physical therapy, but they get 2 visits and boom, they're done. In my case, there was nothing for me. So Pete filled my need by internet, believe it or not. And so we would set up an appointment and they would watch me do whatever exercise that they thought was gonna fix it. And then we'd set up a revisit. And I don't know if you're open to that because this state, the state of New Mexico needs you. I know that because I've audited most of the health and plan customers during the last few years that I worked doing auditing. And so that's one market. The other piece is there are lots of senior citizens needing a little bit of exercise, correct exercise. They also have the same problem. They get maybe 2 physical therapy visits and there they are. There's nothing left for them. And so what happens? Eventually they end up immobile in bed. So although you want to deal with only sports injuries, this hat was given to me at 1 Million Cups by, and I don't even remember exactly the group, but it's a nonprofit and it's people that exercise, children, and it's designed for Native American kids. But it's the same problem on the Indian reservations. There aren't any physical therapists. There aren't any exercise therapists. So I'm not sure if opening your scope would help you, but it might. And possibly being online might help you. I mean, Egosco, I think, is like a franchise. So the person that I was seeing online lost the franchise, but I still see him when I go up to Denver.
Let's let Adam answer the question. Come on
Thank
over,
you.
Adam, so you're on camera.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I will answer that very poignant question.
It's a long one.
Well, it's a long question, but it actually highlights exactly why we're going after university colleges and high schools. I've had for 5 years that story hundreds of times. Oh, you should talk to him. This would be a great opportunity. It's all about the introductions. And it's about the financial problem that allows a company to scale. We're not building a small consulting company where it's just about Adam talking to a couple people. So when we talk about the Nota Begay Foundation, I just need an intro to Nota Begay Foundation. I've literally tried for 5 years and no one knows anyone. So at some point, I'm just gonna have to go knock on some door and just say, here's what it is. But like I said, there's only so many hours in the day. But we want to work with those type of organizations because it's going to help bring this service that is usually in urban settings to rural communities that all they need is the internet. So we know we're onto something. It's all about digital technology. It's all about human service, combining the two. But that really highlights, we just need to have introductions to the organizations that would be interested in it.
Thank you.
So I would answer that to you because the population that I am connected with, and I do try to stay under the radar, is the Native American population. So I will email you my links and email you somebody else who has all those links named. Typically, that person meets me at the rainforest.
Thanks, Eve.
Thank you.
Olivia, I'm gonna take your question next. If you don't mind, Paul.
Sure. Hi, I'm Dr. Olivia with Enchantment Upper Cervical Chiropractic. And Adam, I really like your vision, and I work with a lot of people with post-concussion syndrome, some athletic injuries, but mostly dealing with like neurological issues. And you had talked about somewhere in the process, referring your clients to specialists in the area if they need like hands-on care, that kind of thing. And I was just curious if you already have a system or an idea of a system set in place for vetting those specialists. Like how do you know who to refer your clients to?
That is another great question. We are not trying to create like a ZocDoc where it's just a website where there's a bunch of names and it's just a marketplace. We want to vet with chiropractors, physical therapists, orthopedic surgeons, that the number one focus for our service is they understand the psyche of an athlete. And the psyche of an athlete compared to the general population is, I have a race in 2 weeks. I have a race next month I have to get ready for, instead of the general public is like, oh, I get work comp. I don't have to get better, right? And providers, like some chiropractors, love working with athletes because they're motivated, they're driven, they want to get better, they're goal-oriented. So part of the selection of providers is just their experience working with athletes to help drive them, which then improves our product. So if you're interested in chatting, we'd love to connect with you, because we then become a patient acquisition vehicle for you. We capture 10,000 athletes, 100,000 athletes in New Mexico when they need chiropractic care. We as athletic trainers, we just help navigate the system. We know what they need now and then where they need to go. So instead of doing Facebook ads or being at Whole Foods with a booth, we can capture that athlete population and then direct them to you when you're interested. And I don't know if you're in Albuquerque or if you're somewhere else in the state. To us, it doesn't matter, because we want to have providers throughout the state, because we are virtual, we're a digital service, with the caboose being that hands-on in-person therapy of either imaging, surgery, hands-on therapy. We're that full kit and caboodle. So hopefully that helps your question, Olivia.
Olivia, you're our presenter next week, aren't you? So
Yes.
both of you come back next Wednesday.
I better come. You're right. I'll come. I'll try to come. I just have to look at my calendar, but I'll try to be here.
Great, thank you.
Paul, you're next, and then I'll call on you, Sonia.
I'm Paul
Sorry.
Sutter with Equity. So really enjoyed that story. I'm always looking for something of general interest to the business community from a Million Cups story. And what I find really interesting about your company, because of the stage you're in, fairly early, still working on MVP, you have an amazingly strong team. So tell us something about how you recruited that team, and not generalities. Just pick your best story and tell it.
I mean, it starts with me, right? I'll be honest, that I'm not lying. I'm literally telling the truth. I'm being upfront. We're a startup. This is the opportunity. These are all the organizations we've talked to. I need your service. And how can we do it together? How can we collaborate? How can we all be part of something? So every one of those people, that's been the message from the beginning. But it starts with the bigger vision than like just Adam per se. It's, this is where we can go, but I need the technology. I need people to work on customer management. I need the processes. I need operations. And it's really giving back. All of those people understand the risk versus reward. And I've said this, it's hard to do some of it in New Mexico because everyone has to get paid for their service. None of those people are in New Mexico. So this is all virtual conversations. They've worked in certain settings where they might have a little nest egg that they're able to work on, or they have other jobs. But it starts with a bigger vision and people are following it. So there's no like very specific story. They're all the same, from a retired Major League Baseball pitcher for 28 years to someone that graduated with an athletic training degree and worked at Epic in London for 5 years. They're all the same. They're like, Adam, this is something big. We want to be part of it. And not that I'm comparing myself to it. That's what Uber did. That's what Airbnb did. That's what Google did. That there's people willing to take risks for early stage companies because of the long-term reward. And I'm trying to be part of one of those big success stories in New Mexico. So hopefully we're able to do it.
Thank you. Yeah.
Sonia.
All right. Good morning, Adam.
Morning.
I'm Sonia Doing from Women's Thriller Writers Association, and my first question, I have two things. One thing is, right before COVID, I hired a trainer from Sports and Wellness, and I was paying them a lot of money. And then I find out my trainer was making hardly anything. I'm curious if you're going to have a model that, will make sure that those professionals are paid what they're worth.
Yes. So that's an interesting question. I'm going to get into the weeds. The athletic training profession is very different than personal training.
Gotcha.
Personal training, anyone can buy a book on Friday, take a test on Saturday, and be a personal trainer. And that's not a knock on them. It just means that's the very low barrier to entry. Athletic training is now a master's degree. You have to be nationally certified and have a state license underneath the scope of practice from a standing physician. Like your standing orders have to come from a doctor.
Okay.
So it's not a performance profession. It's a health career. Like we're actually allied healthcare professionals. One of the things that I've said for a long time, the profession of athletic training is sitting on $1 billion industry because we have personal relationships with former coaches, former athletes, directors, athletic directors, you name it. And we have those relationships in our cell phone. So what happens every single day, thousands of times across the country, those people will ask athletic trainers for free help. Hey, my shoulder hurts. What should I do about it? My daughter twisted her ankle on the trampoline. Can you help us? Can you get me to see your orthopedic surgeon tomorrow? And guess what? We do it for free. And if some of you are doctors, we're all empathetic. We want to help people. So we do it first. And there's never been a business model around it. So part of, to Sonia's question, these athletic trainers that are now opening the doors to athletic directors, club directors, you name it. We now have a referral program that if that organization signs up and they become a paying customer, well, they're going to get paid for that relationship. And then if they deliver the service, they're able to get paid the same way psychologists are getting paid in behavioral health. It's happening in all forms of healthcare, nutrition, weight management. Like this is becoming a digital environment in the healthcare space. We're doing it with athletic trainers in a way that's never been done before. But the number one focus is how do we support this group of medical professionals to financially compensate their professional advancement in ways that have never been done before. So it's a great question. There's just a lot of layers to how they will get
There
compensated.
is.
There's a
I
lot of
appreciate
opportunity.
that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam. And my other thing is, so, I've been trying to talk my roller derby team into signing up. And so when you started talking, I decided I'm going to sign up.
Mhm.
Maybe that'll help, especially right before roller derby season starts up in like March. But I went on your website and the big green button in the middle of the page doesn't work. So just FYI,
Okay, no, that's
the
good to
button at
know.
the
I
top
appreciate it.
works, but the button and the green button, you need to fix
Okay.
that.
Perfect. I will say this, kind of show of hands. If I say all people want is access to advice and support, raise your hand if that's really all you want. I just want access to advice and support. I just want to know, hey, how bad is this? What should I do right now? And in the world of athletic training, it's not, well, I want someone to come to my house and evaluate me and I want a free ACL surgery. All people want is, I just want to know how bad is it? What should I do? And then how do I get the next level of advice and support? So for you, Sonia, not you particularly, but the team, that's what we can bring the roller derby team. It's not about being at every practice. It's not about being at every event. We can just be a tether that if someone on the team is dealing with something, we can support it. And it's not expensive. Sometimes people won't use it, but it's that kind of peace of mind in the background. And then there's a lot of value if someone needs more resources and services. We have that built into it. But that is why we're different than, well, here's a workout. We're going to make you get stronger. We're going to make you get faster. That's the whole personal training industry. We're not trying to compete with them. And we're not trying to compete with physical therapy or orthopedic surgery. We're filling this gap that is completely unattached to anyone. People just figure it out on their own. So that's what we would talk with you about, Sonia, about the team and how can we put that New Mexico flag in the ground.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Sonia.
Hello, good morning. Miriam Ortiz Pino, More Than Organized. I'm so excited. I actually have contacts for you.
Okay.
So we'll talk. And I've been waiting the whole time to have the perfect piece to share with you because this is one of my top 5 favorite things we've heard at Million Cups. So I am very invested in your success and the New Mexico success of it. So we'll talk about that. I'm also super excited that you decided to focus on one area and go all in with that for a while without limiting, like Sonia just mentioned, she can sign up on her own without taking out that individual option. I think it's going to be huge for you to have that separate focus and follow that path for a while and then scale the next thing, like maybe supporting older people in a different way or more rural areas, but I love it and I'm very excited and thanks for sharing again.
Thank you. I mean, that's great. Yeah, no, we'll definitely talk when we're done.
Marilyn Pruitt, A Peaceful Path. This is amazing. I have 3 children who are all student athletes, went to state at least in track, if nothing else. And the value of a good personal trainer is incredible. We've used him a lot. And a good personal trainer is just overwhelmed. So what I'm understanding is you can support a good personal trainer who is just overwhelmed. This trainer teaches in the day and goes to every athletic event unless there's a conflict. So he's gone about 15, 20 hours a day. And he uses students that he trains in one of his classes to help where he can't be. But he doesn't have enough resources for the whole school. Is this the type of thing that you're looking for?
100% yes. But I'll tell the audience, I'll dive in deeper into what she's saying. So athletic training is this very unique profession. So if you had kids that played at a high school sports and they had an athletic trainer, that's what she's talking about. Colleges have athletic trainers, but they are overwhelmed. There's one of them, it's usually a 1-to-1 ratio. 1 athletic trainer per athlete, per team, per college, per high school, per field. Sometimes there's 1 athletic trainer for 700 athletes. You can't do it all, right? It's impossible. And then you have to go cover the football practice and the football game while the volleyball team and the soccer team are somewhere else. You can't do it. So you're exactly right. We're supporting the athletic trainer. We're working with the non-collision sports, giving them the resource and the support that this athletic trainer would do if they were in person, but we're working with them. So we're not trying to cut them out. We're not trying to take out jobs, but that would be the right type of introduction. How can we support that athletic trainer to give the same level of support to all the other athletes?
Your training is invaluable. My kids would be different in different places if it had not been for the good support of an athletic trainer. I need to talk to you.
No, once again, let's talk. Excited.
And I'm Michael McDonald, retiree from Sandia. So at first I want to say, I love hearing you every time you talk, and I love seeing you every time you're out. And I love your story of your company. It's just amazing, amazing. One of the things you said early on was kind of about finding the big dollar, right? Somebody with a hurt. And I want to say, I think that your path is just perfect. But as you open up, right? Of course, my self-interest is personal training for people like me, right? You're an athletic trainer, right? Okay, that service for people like me. And one of the things that I was listening to some statistic kind of talking, and they were talking about something called selection bias, right? If you can get your group of people kind of selected out, then you can make advantage. And the one that they talked about specifically was healthcare for a little bit. And healthcare, I didn't realize, right, that a lot of the gym memberships and so forth are built on selection bias. That if they can attract people that go to the gym, it's like, oh, I'm going to choose this one because it gives me $30 off on the gym. Then they get a bunch of people that are taking care of their health, and that reduces their thing because they can't compete by keeping people out, right? And I'm thinking from a next stage, right, to leverage that, because yours, if it goes into insurance, would be opportunity of selection bias, like helping them attract older, athletes that want quick care, that want to keep their body performing, which is a beautiful. So that would be the pitch that I would, when you're ready for insurance companies, is to think about selection bias.
Or haven't? Yes, haven't thought about selection bias, particularly.
It's biasing the group that you're drawing from.
I'll do some research on that because there is the psychology behind business, and that's one of those angles that we can definitely approach.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. The insurance angle is yes. How can we be embedded into an insurance plan? I have Prez, so I have a subsidized gym membership, right? Sometimes it's free, sometimes it's just a portion of it. How can we be part of that insurance policy, which ultimately will save insurance companies money because people are getting early support, early intervention, which decreases long-term healthcare costs. So yes, yes, yes. It's just finding the right insurance company that wants to partner with the startup. That's really
You're
the
kind of
dynamic.
early, you're pretty early phase for that anyways,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So that's why I love
Yeah.
the path you're on to build your company, because you need to get that going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that is one of our roadmaps, is how do we get embedded into that?
We'll have this be the last question.
I'm Julia Nowinski. I'm a physical therapist.
Oh, there you
I
go.
own Ascension Physio, and I worked as an athletic trainer in undergrad. And so did my husband. He actually worked post-grad, so he's got connections to Carthage College in Wisconsin. So I can connect you with that. But as an athletic, I haven't seen your other presentation, so I don't know exactly what your service is,
Yep.
but how, because you can't do virtuals, you need special testing. So how do you provide those virtual?
Great question. If you are in the world of 2023, technology has done this, right? We can't put our hands on and do a Lockman's to tell if someone tore their ACL. That's not what we're trying to do. There are musculoskeletal evaluation tools. There's concussion baseline testing that's already out there. What we're doing is utilizing those tools to give us a basis of where this athlete stands physiologically. How can we manage their health? And there's also the subjective and objective information. So subjective is an athlete says, I heard a pop. All those tools don't do anything. What we then do is say, okay, you might have a knee injury. Athletic trainers can't diagnose. We're not primary. We would say, you know what, we need to get you into XYZ to do the hands-on testing. So then what we're doing is speeding the process to see the right person instead of what happens now. Well, I'm going to go to urgent care, have a copay. Then I'm going to go see maybe ER. Then I'm going to go see my primary. Then I'm going to get a referral to a specialist in 6 to 8 weeks. We would be able to get them in quickly for what you're saying. So there's some tools that are on the market that give us just a dashboard of data that we're able to evaluate remotely. And then when we put on our license hat, it's like, this sounds more severe than it is. We need to get them to that next level of care. And that's really that access to advice and support model. And once again, we're not trying to take out like the physical therapy market or chiropractors or massage therapists. There's just the ability of asking a question early, and then a health navigator, right, which is a term used in healthcare, we're then able to direct them appropriately. Does that help?
Thank you.
Yeah.
That wasn't exactly our last question. We have 2 more. Red or green?
If you're from New Mexico, you know it depends on the food, right? So it's red and green.
Perfect answer. And what could this community do for you?
I put the asks up, right? How you can help. Most importantly, the people that said, I love what you're doing, like that's it. It's that unconscious pat on the back, that keep it up. You're one of us. We want to see this succeed. I really do appreciate that. When I talk about that loneliness, it's like I'm doing this alone, the grind. But when people are patting me and supporting me, that's what keeps the whole company going forward. So I appreciate everyone. And we'll have some conversations afterwards, but everything that you guys said today was really, really helpful. I appreciate it.
All right, please join me in thanking Adam.
I think I do have.
All right, we have events.
Yeah, I have a few. If anybody would like a copy of this event listing, please email me at lisa@fatpipeabq.com. There's an NM Bio Lunch and Learn today at 11:30. I'm sure you can still register. Are you market driven is the subject. Activate NM event called Activate Innovation, a hands-on journey of design thinking and collaborative problem solving, November 30th. A link for you to register for that. Our leadership series with Jason Barnett continues here Thursday at noon. And he says that you don't have to have had attended any of the previous ones. They all kind of stand alone. So it's a great series. Our own Barbara Dawson, Authentic Communication Through the Sales Cycle. Her 4-month series starts December 13th. And then some of us may remember Marty McNabb with Show and Tell. She presented here a few weeks ago. We are going to do our community in 30 things where you can apply to bring an object. We'll put it on the shelves. We're going to display them for about a month, and then we're going to have an event here where people can come and talk about their object. An example is the smoke shop signs. If any of you have ever wondered what those are, those were the signs for my grandfather's smoke shop. That used to be down on Central in the 70s. And then I noticed yesterday that the 2024 ski lift pitch, they are opening applications on December 4th. So if anyone has a startup and they want to give their pitch on the chairlift, then now get ready to register because now is the time. Looks like we have some other events that people want to announce.
Hi, December 6th at 6 p.m. at Ideas and Coffee. We're sponsoring a WordPress work along. So if you have a WordPress site or you want to build one, want to ask some questions, it's free. So come on by. Thanks, Lisa.
Yeah.
Hello, Miriam Ortiz-Pino, More Than Organized. I think it's on the 19th. I'm needing clarification, but I'm doing 5 essential business systems workshop here.
No, we need to talk.
We need to talk.
We're having trouble getting a hold of you, so we haven't finalized the date. So.
Right. So sometime in December,
Yeah.
we're going to be doing the 5 essential business systems. I've been trying to get a hold of people too. So
Okay.
something's been weird in the
Yeah.
universe. But it's kind of an interactive workshop.
And her workshops are great, so be sure you attend.
I actually have a workshop tonight at 7 p.m. It's a banish bladder symptoms with 7 tips workshop. If you just type bladder into all events, it should come up and you can register for free on there. As pelvic floor physical therapist, so it'll be very accurate information to hopefully banish some very common symptoms.
Marilyn Pruitt, trying to get the word out of what I'm doing, and I have another free hour-long seminar. This one is next Wednesday at 11:30 at the Tony Hillerman Library. If anybody wants to let me know. I'm going to put some flyers down here. The people that have gone have really enjoyed it. There are some in the room if you want to ask, but I'll leave this here for people who want it. Thanks.
Sonia, you want to talk about your self-publishing class? Yeah.
Yep, sorry. Sure. So I have a self-publishing class coming up January 8th. I had 10 seats. I only have 9 now. Actually, I have 8 seats left. So if anyone has a book and they're ready to publish, come see me. You can find more on my website at soniadoing.com under events.
Thanks, Sonia. All right, we have a couple newbies here. You're new. Have you ever been here before?
I was here 2 weeks ago.
Okay, good. There's a gentleman, you're new, right? Come on up. We like our newbies to introduce themselves. Anybody else here in the audience? And then any newbies online? Just tell us who you are, how you found out about 1 Million Cups.
Yeah, sure. My name is Jeff Tabellis. I'm the interim program director across the street at Fuse Makerspace. We have a manual and digital fabrication hub for everyone, entrepreneurs, but hobbyists as well. So folks who maybe want to start a business or take on a new hobby that involves a lot of equipment, and they'd rather just use the space and the equipment in the space rather than fill up their house and their yard. We've got classes, workshops over there. And Fuse is part of CNM Ingenuity. Activate, which you mentioned, is as well. And so I think I've just heard about it from colleagues and coworkers and have been meaning to drop in for a while. So glad I finally got the chance.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Hey, Paul.
All right. Well, I'm just gonna, at the risk of embarrassing Adam, respond in some way to some of the elements of his presentation. I think he's given us something that we can all take to our businesses, right? So the difference that he described between an athlete and a member of the general population. So if you look at your business and say, I'm going to write down these goals, I'm going to put dates on them, I'm going to tell my board that I put these goals with these dates on them, and I'm going to hit them, and I'm going to do what's necessary, okay? Don't be part of the general population, hoping that if you just work from 9 to 5, not doing much, somebody's gonna show up and save your butt. It's you. You've got to set that goal and you've got to be internally driven. And I think Adam really showcases that. So thank you very much, Adam. So see you next week. Go out and lift up entrepreneurship in New Mexico.